moving around, I lose Cadillac. Still got my homies to watch my back and to smoke your ass. And then when I come jack, that's why some pigs and the kids come sweating, they follow. Hollow point shills hard to swallow. Why wallow when they come to roll on it with the clip in the wolf, I break your head sign. Not kicking dust, kizzy, they get bust. My crib's surrounded, I'm about to get brushed. I brush with death. How many shells left in my closet? Where my back roll mics flat when the shit goes down. Better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. You better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. You better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. You better be ready.
Better be ready.
I told the police to start our clocks and the rest of the guys as I strap on the bulletproof vest. Boom, I think I got one to that test. Hot damn, I didn't want to kill a man. Shit, still stand tall with the Hill Clan. Y'all, you better step back. You better fall. I'm coming up blasting like a Simony Sam. I got the cheese and the bread for them. Shit goes down. You better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. You better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. You better be ready.
When the shit goes down.
When the shit goes down. Sing.
Better be ready. Yeah.
The following show features stupid opinions and ideas from two idiot brothers who probably did little research and practiced zero due diligence on the topic at hand. The MLO Bros' opinions do not reflect the views of their employer, guests, sponsors, families, neighbors, or pets. If you do not like what they are saying and don't agree with their views or opinions, don't watch the show. We can promise we do not care. Welcome to the worst show on the internet.
I'm trying to get the setup, Isaac. Go ahead, do an intro.
I'm going to do an at everyone in Green Beaver Township.
That's what I was just doing. I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead. Hey, welcome everybody to the MLO Bros. We appreciate you for being here. Tonight we are talking with Wayne Greier. He is a Green Township resident and a neighbor of mine. Lives right around the corner from me. And we're going to be talking about solar energy and solar on his acreage out here in Green Township. But Luke, before we get started, let's talk about our sponsors. Who is our sponsor this month on top of Valley Insurance, as always?
That's it. We don't have any other sponsors right now.
We don't have anybody else.
No. So Haley was done. Rod's.
I hope I'm not insulting someone. I swear somebody paid for 2 months.
No, I swear to God, nobody paid for 2.
Okay. Well, let's bring on Wayne.
Let me know.
Let's bring on Wayne and let's talk. Let's start this thing up.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Wayne. Oh, I got to get rid of that picture.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you guys tonight?
Good.
We're good, man. What's going on? Whoop, that's not right either. Good God. Dude, have you ever watched our show? We're a train wreck. All right, there we go. Here.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's my life. So I'm telling you.
I
always tell everybody if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. So
it's all right, man. So you're from you're a fellow South Range graduate, right?
yes, 2001 South Range.
2001, so a year younger than our sister Leanna, I believe, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Awesome. And Wade, I got to go right into it. Tell everybody watching again. I'm gonna say, because you never believed me that I said I was a good athlete. You never believe it. You don't believe it ever. Tell him, Wade.
I was so impressed with that. So to go on with this, I was the ball boy. When I was in 8th grade, of course, the 8th graders got to be ball boy, and for Jeff Alquist. So I was always, told. You guys remember Kemery? If you had Kemery in shop class, he was always telling me, you got to stay with Jeff and make sure he gets the balls he wants and everything. And so that was my job. Like I always took it so super serious and everything. And I'll never forget the one time playing Jackson Milton, and Jeff threw. Man, it was huge pass, and it would look like it was going to go over your head, and it was a one-on-one you had, and you leaped out, grabbed that ball with one hand, brought it in, and caught it. And I mean, everyone went absolutely crazy. And I don't remember what the score was at that time. It didn't matter. That catch was just, I mean, I'll never forget that.
Okay, we're not going to talk about my football career anymore, Isaac, but I just wanted you to hear that because nobody believes me.
Wayne, why you gotta do this, man? Why you gotta do that to his ego?
I'm just saying.
To make his head big for this show, you know.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
when you're in 8th grade, you see something like that. I mean, it just makes you want to get out there on the field. You know, it was
all right. You know, honestly, Luke, as an 8th grader, you see these. You know, I looked up to who's a senior when I was a freshman, or when I was in 8th grade. Was it like Jack Dawson and now Coach David Rock? I thought they were like superheroes. Catch probably wasn't that great. It just looked awesome because Wayne was so young. It probably wasn't even that great of a catch. That's the way I'm going to look at it.
Enough about us, man. Enough about us, man. So what in goodness gracious are you doing over there? So we Isaac kind of brought this to my attention just to set the pins here real fast about a week.
Luke.
Solar panels, and you wanting to add solar panels and getting heat from the county and all this other stuff. So what do we got going on?
So basically this started, of course, some people know my story, some people don't. I had COVID very, very severely. Wasn't expected to make it. They wanted to put me on a ventilator. Oof. I wouldn't go on a ventilator. Because at that point in time, everybody that went on a ventilator, basically they died. So, you know, I wouldn't go on. I came out of the hospital after 9 days of COVID and was at home, and I hadn't been feeling good for a couple days, and my wife and kids were going to see Santa. I'd already missed Thanksgiving with my family, and this is around December 19th, I believe. And they went, and it wasn't like me not to spend time with my family. I was just like, I don't feel good. I'm going to stay here. And they came home and found me in the fetal position, just moaning and crying. And my wife's like, you're going to the hospital. Do you want to go by ambulance, or am I to take you in? And I'm like, I'm not going to go in. I don't have any clean underwear. I'm not going to go. And she whips some pants at me. She's like, you're going in right now. Yeah. And so I went into the hospital, and they took me into an EKG immediately. And it wasn't 20 minutes later, the resident comes in white as a ghost, and she's like, you have a complete bowel rupture. You need to have emergency surgery. And I'd gotten blood clots in my colon, and it had torn my colon all apart. So I did have to go on a ventilator, of course, for the surgery. I was on for, I think, around 72 hours on the vent. It was all touch and go. Thankfully, through prayers, I made it through. Ended up getting septic from a fungal and bacterial infection, and they did know what to do. And it was actually a transporter that I had. He came up to me one day and was like, "Can I pray with you?" And I was like, yeah, of course you can. And he prayed for me, and we started talking about the Bible and stuff. And he said, you know, the story of Job is based on the fact that he gave everything to God. And I basically just, you know, I fought the whole time. I never felt like I was going to die. Like nobody ever led me on to how bad I actually was. And I just said a prayer at that point in time, and I started getting better. And so it was a long, hard road for me. So, now that background story's there. So, of course, coming with that, wasn't able to work for a long time. I ended up having to go back after I had a reversal of my colostomy. They reversed it and put everything back together, got infected again. They still don't know what caused the infection, where it was. I was on high-grade antibiotics at the Cleveland Clinic for 31 days. To this day, they still don't know what caused it, but I had 104 fever for 28 days straight. Couldn't break it, couldn't do anything. And that I actually crashed up there too. They had to call the crash team on me and everything when I was up at Cleveland. So with all that not being able to work, I have a huge hernia now from all the stomach surgeries that I have that needs to be repaired. I got stuff. Of course, bills start adding up. Lots of cost on the farm. Property taxes are extremely high when you own it. We own a little background. We have 975 acres. We did have more than that. We did have to sell some of the property we had in Austintown to pay some bills that were adding up. And thank God my dad had built that up, and my mom was she's fantastic and was willing to help out with that. And my sister, you know, she's always in there supporting us too. And we came to the decision that farming wasn't going to be able to make the money and whether I was going to be able to work to keep the farm around. So what are we going to do? Are we going to start lotting off ground? Are we going to start trying to bid out the rental ground to try to make more? We have Aunt Julie's farm market farming a little bit of ours now, as it is. And I have a gentleman that I farm with and helps me out tremendously. And so we didn't really know what we were going to do. But before we got sick, we had gotten calls about people wanting to put in solar farms. And I'm a businessman, of course. So I said, well, yeah, we'll talk with you. I don't know if it's really something I'm interested in, but we'll talk. And we had talked by phone, and we did some numbers around and stuff, and ended up getting sick before we ever got to meet with the people. So after a year later, after I had finished my sickness, the people came to meet with us, and I was basically unable to walk in a wheelchair at that point in time from getting out of the hospital, and just really frail. And my mom said, maybe this is a blessing coming to us, because we don't know if you're ever going to be able to work again, and what are we going to do? And they talked to us about solar, and we spent a lot of time about it, that we could raise sheep underneath it. It wouldn't be lost in agriculture. They're a company that's not just a fly by night, because we talked to some other companies that are brand new in the solar. The company we went with, they've been in solar for over 10 years, have, I think, around 60,000 acres.
Wait, what's the name of the company?
Alpin Holding is the American company, and Alpin Sun is their European company.
Alpine Holding. Got it. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna look. Go ahead, keep talking. That's sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. So no, you're fine. You're fine. So they had they've been there, they've done that, they run an industry. One thing we really liked is how respectful they were, and so big on making sure that the community was happy with the project. Whether they have to put in sound barriers, which solar panels really don't put off any noise, but if they had to put in sound barriers, green barriers, put in borders, off the put it off the road, like community support, whatever they need to do, they've done it to make everyone happy in the end. And their goal is, of course, to put in green energy and to supply energy, but they really treated us like family. It wasn't like a big corporation. My project manager, I talked to her 3 or 4 now. I'm talking to her more than that a week, but she just call and ask how the family is and ask how my health is doing. And they named the project after me, the Matador Solar Project. They said that Matadors have to be brave and overcome. And she'd given a whole definition, and she's like, you overcame so much and you've been so brave throughout your journey that she thinks it's only, she thinks Matador fits the project, and she did it to honor me. So, I mean, they've been really, really wonderful to work with. So we weren't ready to, we signed back in 2021, but we weren't willing to, or we weren't ready to tell the community about it, because there's a lot of studies that have to be done, the environmental and the impact studies that they have to do. And so we were waiting for them to get that stuff done and make sure that our site is the right site to put this at. Going back, the reason they picked our site is because in solar, there's 2 different kinds of solar. You have community solar that is under 50 megawatts that goes into like the power lines you have out at your road. Like you see the lines out there. And those can go up anywhere. And with the Senate bill and everything, those can go up on any piece of property over a certain amount of acres, and they can put those in, put them in the lines, and go everywhere. My project is a commercial project, which has to go into transmission lines because it's 150 megawatts. It's a large project, and we have the infrastructure there of the power lines already running through the property. So it was a fit for them to use our property for this project without having to put a bunch of extra infrastructure to get the power from wherever they put it to these. So the danger of these mega solar stations popping up all over Green Beaver Township, Poland, wherever you want to talk about, is very, very minute. The reason that they have to have those power lines in the infrastructure. To get 600, 700 acres in one shot where you have power lines, you don't get that a lot in Mahoney County. Now out in Western Ohio and stuff, you do.
Where is your farm at? Just so we can kind of figure out again, like where it would go.
Do you know where Anjuli? Do you know where Anjuli Farm Market is on 46? Carl Anjuli?
Absolutely. Yep.
Right across the street. It's the old turkey farm. Right across the street. We go from basically across from where Yellow Duck Park used to be. Our farm starts there on the east side of the road. We go all the way. We don't go quite to Western Reserve, but yes, almost on that side of the road. And then when you get to Calla in 46, we own 3 of the 4 corners of Calla in 46. There's a 45 acre piece right there on the northwest corner where we used to have a corn maze there, and we own that. So that's where it's basically at. We picked that location also, like talking to them, because we do own some property in other places, and it's close enough that they probably could run underground lines and get it to there. But this is the least impact on local neighbors. There's, I believe, and I'm not exactly on this, but directly touching, bordering with this, there's 3 in Green Township and 1 person in Beaver Township. Everything else is going to be separated by road, by woods. It's not going to directly affect. So we thought for a project this big to only be touching that few of houses, that's a pretty big deal. Like to us, like that's we're able to not bother as many people.
Hold on 1 second. Let me grab the map. Can you guys see that?
I don't see a map.
Wait.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. All right. So let's pull up. Let me go over here real fast just so we can do this.
Yep, that's our lake right there. Our farm is right in front of that lake that's like an elbow shape.
Hold on. Let me grab. How do we do, Isaac? How do I layers? There we go. Let's do this so we can see what the hell's going on.
There you go.
Terrain. More terrain. Satellite. There it is. Okay. Sorry, man. All right. So talk to me here. So here's Anjoli's Market, right?
Yep.
Now,
so if you go south of there,
south. So this
it'll
right
go.
Here?
Yep, all that big field. Keep going all the way to where the big lake is to the. Yep, right there. So if you go directly below that, see that little field that's kind of like a T shape. Yep, down a little bit more. Oh, other way to the right. Yep, here? We'll see down. That's where it's going to stop. Right there where the house is. You can see the first house. See that driveway? And keep going. Yep, going to your right. That's where it's going to stop at the house.
It'll cover this whole area right here.
Correct.
You guys see
and then if you look at the south side of the S bend,
okay.
So the S bend on Calla Road, it'll
right
cover from not right at the green strip. There's a green strip on the other side, the south part. Yeah, that'll cover that for sure. Yep, it'll cover that, and it'll cover that field there. But it will not cover the next field to your right.
Okay, so it'll be here.
Yeah, no, not that.
No.
Yep. The trees will not be taken out. It will not affect any of that tree woodland over there. And then it'll be all the way to 46. So skip over the tree woodland. Yep.
Here.
All the way across. Yeah, to there. Yeah.
Yep. So and then across 46, there's one field.
That diagonal line is that diagonal road. That's 46,
right? So it's going to go from here, basically.
That's 46.
That is right up the road for me. And you have comments. This Tony Clark, he said he literally butting up against his property. So
he is the house right at. So if you look,
don't say where he's there. Don't say where he's from. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not say.
Okay. So, nope. I understand.
Yeah.
So all right. So that's interesting. So again, Tony lives there. Granted. Okay. So Tony hates it. I probably would too. because you're changing your backyard. What is going to be done to, looking at this map, what is going to be done to beautify the area? You know what I mean? Like, so if Tony goes in his backyard, is he going to see a million solar panels shining in his when he goes out to drink his coffee in the morning? Is he going to have a million solar panels shining on his face, or what's going to happen?
So, the nice thing about the solar panels too, which I didn't get to say, they actually move with the sun. So they're on pillars and they tilt just like a sunflower. So to beautify the area, most of your solar panels are put up with chain link fence, barbed wire, and that's what you see. And they're put right to the road. Our company is committed to doing what it takes. If they have to offset it from the road up to 300 feet, putting wood fence that matches our farm fence of putting in wood post and agricultural grade fence, and then putting evergreens that get 8 feet tall completely around the border. So after, I think they said 3 to 5 years, and they bush out and get growing, it'll just be like driving past a row of trees, like people that like fence their house in with trees so you can't see it. It'd be basically like that. Now we can make it so when you're at road level you can't see it, but of course, with hills and valleys and stuff, you're going to be able to see them somewhere. Some places like there is a little bit of an upgrade. There's a hill there, so you'll be able to see a little bit on top of the hill. Or if you're higher than it, maybe if he was in a second story window, you might be able to see it. But we're going to do everything as possible to make it aesthetically pleasing. This isn't going to be dirt like you're seeing right there in those pictures. You basically see brown dirt. It'll look like those green strips there. It'll be green pasture, and we're going to put in those pastures wildflowers too. We're going to put in the wildflowers because I'm a beekeeper, but also we need honeybees and pollinators. So we're going to put them in there to help the pollination process in there. So in the spring, imagine, and we're going to put sheep out there. So in the spring, imagine a lush green pasture. There are going to be structures out there, of course, the solar panels, but a lush green pasture with beautiful flowers and thousands of sheep running out there with their little babies running around, bouncing throughout the pasture. And that's the one thing that people are saying. They don't want to see agriculture. They don't want to lose agriculture. They don't want to lose agriculture. I have no intent of losing agriculture. We're still going to farm. We're gonna make hay off the property. We're gonna raise sheep, and we're gonna make honey for the bees. So this is what I've done my whole life. I want to continue to do it. It's just a different.
Tony, I'm gonna, since you're firing away in the comments, I have a question for you, Tony. What if Mr. Wayne here says, you know what? Screw it. We won't put in solar panels. Okay, let's just do it this way, Tony. We're not gonna put in solar panels. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna parcel it off 1 acre at a time, put some roads in, and put a development in. You want to do that then, Tony? So then what happens, Tony? Because he could do that right now, and you wouldn't have a freaking issue. Or would you? Would you have a problem with that?
Or he could put like barns up on his property around your house.
You know what you need to do, Wayne? You need to put up a chicken farm, a giant chicken farm. And then that way, right there. Now, hear me out, Wayne. Hear me out.
Right next to.
I know where you're going with this. It's already in the comments.
Right. A giant chicken farm. Put a giant chicken farm in there. And then when those chickens shit and you go clean the shit out of the chicken farm, the whole place is going to smell. Because that's what happened in North Lima. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That's what we could do. So again, you got to think, Tony. Think about your choices here before you start attacking people. Because I saw some of your comments earlier. Before you start attacking people, I'll tell you what, you're going to piss somebody off, Tony, and then you're going to get worse. So just remember that. Sorry, continue.
On just as somebody who lives and drives on 46 to Canfield, as I'm driving from South Range to Canfield, so for those that didn't put it together, there will be like 300 feet off of that diagonal road to the right here. And then from there, there'll be evergreens and then a fence. And then the solar panels will be inside of that border, right?
Yes. I don't want to quote exactly 300, but I know they've done up to 300 feet on other projects. So I would say that if that's what people want, they'd be willing to work with them, especially around the houses. In other areas where it's just my ground or farm ground, they might put them closer to the road. But yes, you're 100% correct in saying they've done projects where they put 300 feet between the road and the panels, and then they between the road and the vegetation.
In playing devil's advocate, I will say I think, and I've had working as a loan officer and in real estate, I've had clients in the past that have had in Columbus that have had solar companies move in and they were going to build essentially solar panels all around this guy's property. Historically speaking, playing devil's advocate here, I think projects like this do lower property values of the people around it, right? I mean, I think that's true.
So the biggest thing is that we don't have enough really around to have an accurate, but the simple Google search. So, Google's not really doing, but if you do it, the average that they have found, and I forget who did the study, and it comes right up, lower the property 1.5%. Now, my comment to somebody that says, "Oh, I don't want to see my property 1.5," and that's within a half mile, 1.5%. So that's not very, that's not. We're not going clear down to the school, lowering the property value. We're talking, 2,000, 2,500 feet, from the project. You're not talking about a huge distance. So my thing is, this project's going to bring in $42 million projected. Minimum 42 million. That's if we don't pass any more levies or how the property taxes go and the pilot payment and all that. So if you look at your property taxes, that roughly 80% goes to the school. I get calls probably 2 to 3 times a month for somebody that wants to buy 5 acres of property in South Range School District. People love South Range. It's a great school, and people are moving here. People are open enrolling here. Mm-hmm. So if South Range had an extra, let's say, $1 million to play with each year, I can only see them getting better than what they are now. And as the school gets better, your property value should go up and offset
sense.
What that is. That's my opinion on it. Also,
what about how do we know that? And you might have said this. I'm sorry. How do we know that amount of money is going to go directly to the schools, though?
So, it's a pilot-based program, and I'll have to refer you more to the meeting when they have the experts there for that, because it's not mine. But so they call it pilot, and it's paid in lieu of property taxes, and it's what the commissioners work out between $7,000 and $9,000 per megawatt. So 150 megawatt times roughly 10,000, you're talking about $1.5 million dollars each year that it's going to bring in. So, and plus the difference in property taxes. So my property taxes are paid on CAUV farm basis right now. So the property taxes will change from CAUV to commercial or industrial rate, which is going to be a higher amount. So that's also going to go on property taxes. So then the county breaks down the money based on, I believe, based on the same principles of property taxes, and then pay it to the schools and that, the emergency entities and that as it goes out. So another thing, solar panels, so farm ground, like some of that farm ground that's around me, it actually goes up in value after a solar farm is put in. Because if somebody wants to buy that and connect to the solar farm, they can basically pay off the land in a short amount of time, third to half of the life of the solar farm, collect the rest of the money as mailbox money, and then they own the land that was paid off by it. So they've seen land prices go up because people see the value in the solar panels. And it's temporary too.
How long is the predicted life of this solar farm there?
So we are signed for 30 years with 2 5-year extensions. And so at the end of, let's say it goes on for 40 years, at the end of 40 years, it'll be completely dismantled, taken down, and the ground will be put back to the way it was. They also have the option, they could try to release the property with me if the solar is still good. We have, the option to just say no and put it back. And I mean, in 40 years, that's my kid's decision and my nephew's decision of what they want to do with the property.
What about zoning? Is that considered? We're agricultural here. Is that considered agricultural?
So zoning has already passed a resolution that they want solar banned. Green Township has banned solar. I should have sent you the article. The commissioners have already went around and sent letters to, at least I know, Goshen, asking them to pass a resolution to ban solar in Goshen. So I see the commissioners wanting a ban so they can basically say, well, all the townships want it banned, so we're going to ban solar. Before anybody really even knows the project, any of the details of the project or anything, they're just trying to ban it. And as well as I do, if they shut down solar in this county, it's never coming back. When these big players go find a new place to do it, and this area is not going to get it and the benefits from it.
What's in their best? What is their interest in banning it? Like, why? So why are they on such an aggressive push to not let it happen?
So what I've heard, mostly people don't want to look at them. I've seen in the comments, people don't want to look at them. There's been some questions about, let me think of, so the farmland was the one question. They don't want it to come out of farmland. So I've already addressed that because we're going to keep it in raising sheep. Just because it's not corn or soybeans that you're looking at doesn't mean it's not agriculture. Sheep production actually has dropped from 2001 from 7 million sheep in the United States to now we're only around 5 million, and it's continuing a downhill slide. So it's a great opportunity for the sheep production market to, be able to boost and have theirs. So the next thing was the property tax, and we've already, the value of the property going down. So we kind of addressed that. Another one that we addressed was the eyesore. They don't want to look at it. So we're going to make sure that we make this aesthetically
pleasing as possible.
So then the other one I heard, so one of the trustees said, if this is such a great deal, why did all the farmers in Columbiana County sign on to it? Well, that's a hard question. Like, this wasn't something that I just took overnight. Not everybody's going to want to have the fit for this. Not everybody wants to raise sheep. Not everybody wants to have this on their farm. So another problem is a lot of the ground, farmers rent a lot of ground. So if a solar company is able to go in there and rent the property for way more than what they're getting paid, if you, like, let's say you own 50 acres and I come to you and I've been paying you, let's just say $75 a year for rent. And a solar company comes in here and offers you, and these are just numbers I'm throwing out there. Let's say they offer you $500 an acre. You're going to say, well,
let's do it.
Or you're going to tell the farmer, can you pay $500 an acre? So there's a lot of farmers pushing back that don't want to see it because it's competition for them. Yeah. That's the other nice thing that I have here. I own all this our family owns all this property. So we're not really affecting anybody in that way.
I know there's money to be made, but I guess there's for you as the landowner, especially if it's better than renting it to a farmer. But I guess you could argue why northeastern Ohio, where in the United States we only have so much farmland, when you could go out to the frickin' desert where there's way more sun all the time.
Fantastic question. So that's a great question. So first thing we're going to talk about is out in the middle of the desert, how are we going to get that power to anyone? We got to put in a lot of infrastructure to get this power. How much power is going to be lost in transferring it through the lines by the time it gets there? So that's a hard thing right there. is how efficient are they going to be if we have to truck this power in from so far away? Next thing is, so Northeast Ohio, it's cloudy. Why would they want it here? Well, they have picked this area, obviously, because we are at an energy deficiency. I don't know if you guys have driven down 7 by the Ohio River, but the power plant that you go underneath there's no coal there, and I've heard it shut down. So, but last time I went there, I took my kids to show them, I was like, oh, kids, look at these big mounds of coal and everything here. And I mean, there was like 10 semi-loads of coal over the whole entire place. And so we need to make up these deficiencies of where power plants are being shut down. How are we going to do this? And so we need a mixture of every kind of energy, whether it's nuclear, wind, solar, natural gas, coal. I'm for all energy. We need it all. We don't want to deal with the rolling blackouts of Texas or the stuff in California.
You need balance. Yeah,
back to the cloud cover. So the solar panels, they are actually run on UV light. So on a cloudy day, they're still 80% efficient because they're running off a UV light. Just like if you can get sunburned on a cloudy day because the UV light comes through and can burn you. So
I know it. In spring, it happens to me once it starts getting warm. I get it. I'm being a pale boy myself. Saw a comment, and I actually had a question written down too, similar to what they were asking. So what happens if said solar company goes out of business, or
that's a good question.
Something happens where all these things are just sitting there and they're not operating, who cleans it up? Like, I know people are, is the taxpayer going to have to spend money to get this crap out of there so it can get converted back to farmland? What happens ultimately to the 975 acres full of solar panels if it gets turned into junk?
That's and keep firing these questions. Anybody that's watching, that's what I'm here for. And if I can't answer it, I'll give you to the website where you can talk directly to the project manager and ask her these questions. So,
wait, is there any way we could have her come on?
Yeah,
I would love before your meeting on the 30th, and we could stream her in wherever she's from. I think that would be awesome to have her on. Just to hear,
and I'm sure she'd have more material.
You're doing a great job, because I even told Isaac, you sure Wade's going to know what the hell he's talking about? And you're doing a great job.
So when the trustees are like, we've done 9 months of research on this solar, and like the suggestions, we'll get into those later, but they've done 9 months of research. Well, the 9 months of research they didn't learn what they should have learned about solar. They obviously were talking one-sided and don't know all these points. But so Senate Bill 52, that is actually what has given the commissioners, Ruley was a sponsor of it, a co-sponsor, I'm sorry, he was a co-sponsor of it, to give the right to the county commissioners to say yay or nay if they want solar. So I don't like the fact of that on Senate Bill 52, that somebody can tell me what I can do with my land. I think there's a lot with landowner rights. But a good part of that is taking care of what you just said. With Senate Bill 52, it forces these companies to work with the commissioners to set a bond of amount for cleanup. And they will work with their experts and the solar experts to project with interest, with everything, what cleanup will be on that. And then a bond will be set with the county to make sure that there is money set aside to clean up these projects when it's done. So if it does go bankrupt, we're going to get cleaned up. At the end, the money will be sitting there to clean it up. If there's a disaster, that was brought up. What are we going to do in the time of a tornado? This is what I'm going to have to give to the company, but a company that big is going to carry some sort of insurance on that.
They're going to have
sticking solar panels flying down to my house.
I'm going to be drinking a cup of coffee and pulling, and all of a sudden a solar panel's going to land in my backyard.
Right.
Freaking about 2 miles away, 3 miles away.
Well, and so a really cool fact about these solar panels. they can actually be programmed with the weather so that somebody can make them, if it starts to snow, they can be put at the maximum 60-degree angle so that the snow falls off of them. They can be put at, if there's a big windstorm coming, at a resistance of the least, they will actually move to be at the least resistance of the wind so that they're not getting blown out of the ground. It's really awesome technology that they have here.
Is this totally funded? Because people were also commenting, oh, we're just going to be grants, going to be taxpayer money. Is there taxpayer money paying for this?
So I will leave this to the company, but what I believe they will tell you, this is in our flyer that it says this is privately funded, and they have told me that they have taken no grant money or money from the whatever the Green New Deal or any of that stuff is. They're not taking that this is all privately funded.
Interesting.
Right.
What about, I guess this is a question for you, like a business question. What about like over the next 30 years, solar technology is projected to like greatly increase in the amount of energy you're going to be able to pull from the sun. Have you worked into your contract, like, and I guess from like the taxpayers' perspective and the school's perspective, like, what if their technology gets way better over the next 30 years and they're pulling way more energy and they're making way more money? Will the schools in turn make more money? Will you in turn make more money? Or is it set at that certain amount per month for 30 years?
So I get an increased amount each year.
Okay.
Due to inflation and everything based on our payment. If the property value changes, the property taxes that I pay, because there still has to be property taxes paid on it, I pay my CAUV amount and the company supplements the extra. So if I'm paying $50,000 a year in CAUV for my property and it goes to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, whatever commercial rate would be on the same property, they pay the difference. So if it continues to go up, that goes difference. Now, as far as the pilot program, that you're going to have to wait till the meeting, or if we get Laura on here, she'll be able to explain that. But they have the people on that to talk more about that.
Yeah, because I have a buddy in solar who he's like.
So going back on the complaints, I just thought of another one.
What's that? Oh, are we delayed?
I was just saying, going back to the I said, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you go ahead. You do your thing.
Okay, so what I have really heard about one of the complaints that I hear is, what if they have to be cleaned? So out in the desert ones and where they put them in Texas, they get a lot of dust storms where they have to be washed off. What are they going to use? That was something that one of the trustees brought up. We shouldn't have to do that here because we get enough rainfall to keep them clean. But if they do need to be washed, they're hosed off with water. There's nothing else they use. They just hose them off.
What about, I've heard stories of snow and like people have to go up on the roofs and brush the snow off the solar panels. Are they going to have to come out and if we get a crazy snowstorm, are they going to have to go out and clean off every solar panel, or how's that going to work?
No, with them moving, they will tip to their 60-degree angle so the snow can't stick and it'll fall off of them. Plus, there is there has to be some heat produced with the solar panel that should keep the snow from sticking on there. There is a complaint about the extra heat that the snow panels are going to produce and what's it going to do to the surrounding areas and everything. So the solar panels probably do produce a little bit of heat, but the shading effect that they give to the ground, that they have thermal imaging. And this is what I've heard, that the overall surrounding temperature is cooler of the solar panels than because solar panels are made to absorb light, and that's what people worry about, the reflection. What's it going to do to planes? That these things don't reflect light. They're made to absorb light, and that's the more light absorbed, the more efficient they are.
I think Gump Show or Shaw or whatever his name is over here have you taught, because you currently lease that to the Anjolis, right?
A little bit of it, not everything. No, they're I think they have around 50, 60 acres that they're farming vegetables on.
Okay. And are they freaking out because you're taking their 50, 60 acres away?
I haven't talked to them yet because we don't really know what's happening yet. I will do whatever I can to help them. But you know, I offered them help when they were having trouble. So I mean, I will do anything I can to ever. They are family to me, and I will work with them any way I
I
can.
graduated with Carl, and you know his brothers, and there's like 100 brothers and cousins and everything, and they're just a great freaking family. I mean, there's a million of them, but they're awesome. Another question. So as far as I was trying to think here, I was looking through this. Sorry here. So again, it's Alpine. What is it? Alpine Brothers?
Alpin Sun or Alpin Holding.
Sun. Yeah, I put up the website where you could go and see the details of the plan. Look who's watching us, Isaac. There's my boy. You know Dennis Malloy?
Yeah. Thanks. I think he liked my question. So I guess, and I guess it would be in your best interest as someone who owns the land to then still be able to do whatever you want, like underneath the solar panels. So they're going to let you, if you want, you plant wildflowers and beekeep and stuff on that property still, or like, what are your restrictions as a landowner?
So I have to be respectful of the panels, but we have in our contract that we're allowed to beekeep, make hay, and raise sheep underneath the panels. So I can ride my four-wheelers through there. The kids will be able to ride their four-wheelers as long as we're respectful and everything. So yeah, I mean, we can, and as far as Aunt Julie's go too, they're actually working with companies right now to plant vegetables down through the rows of the solar panels to grow. So when it comes to that point in time, that's definitely something we're going to look into, seeing how wide their equipment is, and if we can farm down between the rows of solar panel and put vegetables and what the companies are going to let us do, because we're going to use this land as most efficiency as possible. If we can farm the sun, farm food, and do that, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a farmer by any means of the imagination, but sheep would also, so you'd have it fenced in, you'd have stuff up, and then you put sheep out there. They're going to be freaking mowing down the grass, right?
That's what they're there for. Instead of having lawnmowers run out there, zero turns, weed whackers, getting it all, the sheep are going to be out there doing the job for us. It's going to give the wildlife a chance that's not getting plowed under. That's one thing that they said about the wildlife. What's this going to do? We plan on releasing pheasants out here where the pheasants can be protected from birds of prey underneath these panels to raise their nest, be protected from coyotes and raccoons. Then when they raise their young, they can fly up over the fence and help populate the pheasant population around here. You just don't see pheasants.
Here's a good question. Bridget says, former GM plant in Trumbull County has solar panels installed in the former parking lot. Do you have the use figures and environmental impact studies from the nearby project for comparison? Is there really an environmental impact of solar panels?
They'll do a study on it. Like, is it going to affect the animals? Is it going to affect the ground? What's it going to be? Yes, that all has to be done through the company handles all that, doing the environmental. And that's what we were in line. We have a number to get that done. And we just missed the grandfathering in. Like, we're grandfathered in, the numbers there, but we don't have, your impact study has to be done to be grandfathered in. And the PJM, which is Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Maryland, that handle the power grid in this area, they have to. They give you a number and a queue, and they do the impact study and see if they can use it and everything. And this is the stuff that's above my head, but they will make sure that we're not going to have. Yes, that has to be done, is a environmental impact study, and that's what we were waiting. When we had that done, that's when we were going to come to the public and say, hey, this is what we'd like to propose in this area. Look at all the benefits we can have from it, and But I think that I don't want people thinking that.
I guess the people complaining, I just keep thinking in my head. So the neighbors, I think, have a legitimate gripe, right? And I'm not going to take away. I know he's kind of going at what's his name, Tony. they have a legitimate gripe, right, Isaac? Like the ones directly by it.
Right. Like Tony will be directly.
I think they have a legitimate gripe. Okay.
Yeah.
The ones that I have a problem with are the ones who don't live anywhere near it, or like
I live 2 miles, mile and a half, 2 miles down the road. Am I allowed to complain?
Will not affect you at all.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So why is it that people have to be so? I don't want that in my town.
You want to, Luke? It is the classic. It's so classic of humanity across the board, and it's people are afraid of what they don't understand and have never seen before, and they don't think it's worth the risk. That's just how people are.
But what risk? What? How is it going?
The risk is all these unanswered questions. So what you have to do, Wayne? What you have to do, Wayne, is inform all these people. Get the girl, have her on the podcast. We'll bring you guys back with her. Have her explain. You need to explain to all the neighbors. Like, as a neighbor, I am fine if there are strict regulations on making sure these things don't fall into disrepair. There's some kind of contingency plan where if they go out of business, like there's some kind of fund that pays for the removal of all this shit. If it does turn into that. And then like very strict codes on like so far off the road, fences, evergreens, like you said, and then the land is still used. Like I have no problem with that. I think that's great, especially if we get the numbers and we find out that it's improving the schools and it's making the schools better. I have no problem from that. From my standpoint as a neighbor, I would have no problem driving by that. I do get it though. Like if I was Tony, I probably wouldn't want that. If I was living on like the corner next to that, I would not like that.
People 5 miles down the road saying, I don't want to lose agriculture in my township. How does that affect you? Like it doesn't.
Right.
It drives me bonkers. Like it doesn't affect these people. That's the problem. That is the problem.
Right.
Sorry.
And that's what I want to explain to people. I want to explain to people too. Like it's okay if you don't want solar on your property. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and say that you have to have solar. If you don't want solar on your property, that's perfectly fine. But why do you care if I have it on my property? This is not going to affect you. This is property that my father's, worked my mom and father worked their knuckles till they bled to pay for this ground and make sure it's there.
Isaac,
but ultimately,
Isaac, you're Mr. Libertarian or whatever it is.
No, and that's the truth. Ultimately, the trump card is he says, why keep it a secret? That's the bigger issue here. It's his freaking property. Like he can keep a secret on his property and then at the last minute let it go to the it's his property. He can do what he wants. And that is ultimately the trump card for you as a landowner is it's your property. You can do what you want. But like, I think that there are good communities that have strict ordinances and zoning in place. And I think it could be effective, but there needs to be like contingencies in place.
But it sounds like
you're going to
get a bond
property values.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I protect myself too. I want to make sure that those are,
if we could get her on, I'll move our schedule around before your meeting on the 30th. Just to have her come on.
Go ahead, Wayne. There's a delay too. Go ahead, dude. Sorry,
Wayne.
No, and we made sure for my protection that all that stuff is in there. I mean, I hired a lawyer that he has been in the oil and gas industry for years and understands how this energy stuff works. And he went over the contract with a fine-tooth comb for me to make sure I was protected. So yes, even for my protection, we made sure that those clauses are in there, that we have there's bonds and and escrow accounts set up to pay for this when it's time to come out. So, yeah, and I agree with you. Like, we're not going to bring anything into the community that's going to hurt people and affect people. And like Luke said, better than chicken barns. What if I wanted to bring in a 5,000 head hog finishing barn? You know how bad hogs smell? And there's nobody can stop me. And within a half mile, that's a 40% reduction of value in your property. Within a half mile, clear up to 3 miles. So your house would be affected 20% by a hog farm there. So
screw you, Wayne. Screw you, Wayne. Don't you dare do that. I'll pick it in the streets.
I'm not gonna lie. Wait, I'm not gonna lie. My personality, if I got turned by the county commissioners and my neighbors retaliated against me, I would put in a freaking hog farm. I would put in the biggest hog farm ever. This is how
Luke would say, "Oh, okay, cool. You don't want a solar farm? Okay, cool. Hog farm. Let's go.
I mean, hogs
right now,
tomorrow.
Hog
farms
everything. The mushroom farm. A mushroom. I don't know if you remember the mushroom farm.
Yeah.
The mushroom farm. I would do the stinkiest things you could possibly think of.
Right.
So and say, okay, hey, you guys didn't want solar. Now we got a mushroom farm again. I hope you guys love it. You don't remember the mushroom farm, do you? You're not old enough.
What year was that?
Oh, it was a long.
I remember driving through North Lima out by where the strip mine was, and it always smelled real bad.
That was the mushroom farm. Yep.
Yeah.
It stunk up our whole area, no matter where you live. Yeah,
it would take your breath away. You get off the school bus and it's just, it was bad.
Well, Wayne, if this gets shut down by the county commissioners, you have my full support. I will be back to Mushroom Farm. That's gonna be my I'm gonna get it on t-shirts.
And then my question too, like people were saying like are there health risks attached to it? And like I didn't comment and I don't get involved. I try to not get involved too much in like the back and forth on Facebook, but somebody mentioned like, there's health concerns of being that close to solar panels or something. And it's like, I think there's health concerns with the chemicals they spray on our crops. That's probably more hazardous than solar panels. But I mean, I ultimately don't know if there are any health concerns attached to solar panels.
So no more than the power lines that have gone through there since the early 70s, and when those people bought their property, those power lines were there, so they knew that there was a chance that something was going to go in where those with the power lines going in. I'm hoping to get and we're going to talk to Laura. I'm hoping to get a solar panel for our meeting in Greenford when we have it, and we want to cut a solar panel open with a saw right in front of everybody. There's nothing toxic in a solar panel. They're made out of aluminum, they're glass, so they're recyclable. Like that's the people that say that they're going to be end up in a landfill and they're toxic waste and everything. We want to cut one open right in front of them and say they're safe. There's nothing. There's nothing dangerous inside. Now, the old ones that had liquid and all that stuff, these new solar panels, I can send. I might have even sent you guys the video of them being made. And these ones were made in India. But there's nothing in them that's going to be hazardous. People say, the electromagnetic field. That's one thing that they worry about, that they're going to put off an electromagnetic field. They've done tests, and as soon as you get outside, like right outside the fence, it's gone. Like if you're in the field. Yes, there's going to be everything produces your microwave. Every time you use anything that has a coil system, a drill or anything like that, it puts out electromagnetic pulses or whatever they call it, electromagnetic fields. So
there's people saying that phones, you put it up to your head and you get the electromagnetic.
Same with they're saying like AirPods are bad too, especially because it's so close to your head. I think there's studies coming out of that.
It's like,
so that argument of being of that hurting somebody, it's not an argument, because they have measurements outside and it's not outside the field. So unless they're going to go walk their dog, which I'll be in the field every day and it doesn't scare me with the sheep. So, but it's more dangerous than sitting at your microwave every day.
I got another question for you too. Like, and this is a good one. Energy produced by these solar panels. Like you said, it's commercial. So is this going to go to big companies across the United States? Are we going to see any of this energy in our local community?
So I don't know the exact answer to that, but I will be honest with you. With it going to those power lines go to Akron or Cleveland or to a big city. So I'm not sure if that will be used locally, but my guess is it probably won't be. That's a question for Laura, the company. But anytime we can produce more power into the system, in theory, our prices should go down. Now, whether the power company is going to do that or not, I don't have any say over what they do. But I'm giving an opportunity to push more power into the grid, which should lower people's cost of power everywhere. Yeah. So, that's one thing everybody's complaining about, the price of power going up. Here's a great way to put another 150 megawatts into the grid system, and we don't want to pass up this opportunity.
When you want to win me over, brother, listen, my house is all electric. I need you to pay my electric bill. I need you to hook those bitches into my house and pay my electric bill.
Wait. Isaac, Wade's gonna run a 3-mile extension cord to your house. You can hook into the panels.
Listen, man, you pay my electric bill. Listen, I'm not gonna promise my electric bill won't go up. Probably gonna start picking, like, maybe get a generator, get some other stuff going. Start like a Bitcoin mining factory or something on my property. Don't worry about that. Okay, but yeah. So that would be awesome, but I don't know.
You'll see my pickup truck coming out of there every day with a new solar panel, just sneaking it out of there and sneaking it over to your place.
Yeah, dude. I got 5 acres over here right down the road. You steal me a couple of them, I'll throw them out in my field. Nobody will even know.
We'll put them in there. I did see a comment come across. Somebody asked how the posts are going to be put in. They are not put in with concrete. They are pounded into the ground. They'll be pounded in the ground, and then they'll be secured to that. So they will not be a permanent structure. Sorry, I saw that come through, and I wanted to answer that for somebody.
When's the decision? When is the next? So what's the timetable here? So the next meeting is the 30th. Is that what I read?
Correct. And I'm asking for everybody's support. Whether they are have their mind made up or not, come and at least listen and hear my plan. That's all I'm asking. Before you say bring out the pitchforks, before you bring out the torches and you think I'm some kind of monster, come hear the plan. Hear what I have to offer. Hear what it's going to do for the community. Hear it out and see what we have to offer. And then if anything else, come out and stand up for a landowner's rights. I mean, what's next?
Kind of where I'm falling, man.
If they're going to say I can't put up solar, and we got people over here that are saying, oh, well, you're taking up ground that food could be raised on. Well, does that mean that every pine tree farm has to be taken down because it's not raising food, or every piece of property that's vacant we have to put food on? I mean, farmers have a habit of shooting ourselves in the foot. When grain prices go up, we find every piece of land we can, till it up and farm it, and then we drive the price right back down to as low as it was.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of production for the next 40 years so that maybe other farmers can get a better price on their grain, but I'm still raising a food source. And this is a direct food source that will be sold at local auctions for people to eat. So,
and again, you're helping the power about it. Again, I love the approach. I love your political approach, but it's like, let me put the solar panels in, or I'm putting a hog farm in. That's it.
And
I'll have signs made for you to hold up at the 30th in the back of the church.
Dude, I'm going to get a hog farm.
No solar put up hogs.
Bring back the mushroom farm.
Yes.
Bottom line, it's their property. They should be allowed to farm it how they want, whether it be electric, sheep. That's kind of how I'm going. And if you're doing a good job to block it off, to beautify it, to bring in flowers, that's the way I'm falling on this, Isaac.
Brian, I appreciate you. Love you, brother.
Yeah, and if you do it right, and you bring your A game, you win over the community. And I think the regulations are put in place to keep this farmland / solar panel synergy thing going. You could be a first mover for something big in our community, and I think that's really, really, really cool. And like I said before, it's so hard as a human being to not be afraid of what we don't understand. All we're asking is to just hear the man out, go to the meetings, go and listen to what they have to say, just don't shut it down because you don't want it, you don't care, and you don't want to care about what it is. That is just dumb. It really is. And
the fact that you don't want to look at it and you live 5 miles away, like you said, I'm not putting anybody in a chair, duct taping them to a chair with their eyes open and saying, you have to look at this. There's other roads in Green and Beaver Township you can travel down to get places if it's really going to bother you. Nobody's forcing you to look at it. Nobody's forcing these on your farms. This is not a decision that our family took lightly. And hopefully you can see by the questions I've answered, I've done hours and hours and hours of days, weeks of research on this before we made these decisions. And
you did a great job. You really did. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you.
I can't thank you guys enough for giving me the chance to put it out here, because even the commissioners won't give me the chance to meet with them to say, let me tell you about my project, and it seems like Ditzler has been the whole entire time. The trustees have a finger on what the community wants, and we want to support the trustees and everything. And it's like, you haven't even heard my project, and the trustees maybe they did talk to 200 people. There's 3,500 people that, how did they know that those people don't say, well, yeah, I don't want it on my property, but I don't care what Wayne does on his. If he needs it to help his family and he needs it to survive, and Wayne's always been a very generous person in the community, whether it comes from the fair, helping the 4-H kids, or, donating to the Fireman's Festival or anything around. I've always tried to be there to help whenever I could when I was a business owner, and I will continue that support. The support the community gave me when I was sick, I can't wait to have the opportunity to bless people the way I was blessed when I was sick.
I mean, you're talking about county commissioners that fired a guy with cancer that disagreed with them on a topic. So there is no need to try and prove that you're better than those losers.
I cannot stand Ditzler, and I cannot stand Spaghetti Rigetti. Those two people, if they're in office after they run for election next time, so help me, I am going to run the biggest freaking campaign to get them out. Personally, I can't stand them.
But that's a topic for another day. Thank you for joining us, Wayne. We'll get you out of here. And
hey, let us know if that lady wants to come on before you.
Yes, I will be in contact.
Stupid Armstrong, man. I'm telling you.
Armstrong doesn't want solar. They're like, get him out of here. But thanks, Wade. We'll see you around, buddy. Thank you, everybody watching at home. We appreciate you for being here, tuning into the MLO Bros. If you haven't already, go down below over here. Give us a like, a thumbs up, a heart, a smiley face, whatever you can do. It helps get more people watching this video. If you haven't, share this video with our local neighbors here in South Range, in Green Township. Well, it's great information. So help us get word out. Also, MLO Bro over here. MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. We are loan officers. So if you are interested in getting pre-approved to buy a house, rates are high. We are not. I mean, mortgage applications are at an all-time low right now. So we need you to use us. We need you to be our clients. We need to be your loan officers because we're so bored. My day job's a little slow.
True story. We're talking about starting an OnlyFans page for our feet.
Just these size 14 puppies will make us some money, boys. Online. If you feel like if you as someone who follows the MLO Bros are interested in seeing feet pics, there will be a paywall. I think it's gonna be something like $10 a month. $10 a month on OnlyFans. You can sign up and take care of us that way. Because, but if you don't want to see our OnlyFans, use us for mortgage financing. We'll I promise we're good loan officers. So give us a call. 330-921-8978 is my cell phone. Luke, what's your phone number?
Don't call me. The 330-951-7081. Again, all of these are our opinions and views, or our opinions, so don't be mad at us. We're gonna talk what we want and say what we want. So I know I'm sure we pissed.
Right. I'm just trying to get word out about cool things happening in the community. This is one of them. Don't hate the messenger. I'm just a guy. I just say my opinion. Everybody gets mad at me all the time. That's what I've figured out. It's like you come off kind of hostile. I'm not gonna lie. Here's what you do. Luke's phone number, right? Luke's phone number, it's all over the internet. Call Luke. I promise he's not mean on the phone. He acts like a big tough guy on this podcast. Promise he's not mean on the phone. If you call him and you have the stones to call him up, he will talk to you. He'll talk your ear off. He acts like a giant jerk face. Actually, a big teddy bear. I promise. Just call him.
I'm gonna tell the people on the phone when they call, though, I want a hog farm or a mushroom farm, whatever. They don't say no.
See, that is the thing, man. Like, it could always be worse. You know what I mean? Like, it could always. And nobody wants. Right, like a truly evil person. Like if it were us, it's like, all right, cool. No solar farm. I'm gonna hire somebody who wants to put in a hog farm. Screw 100%. All you do.
That's exactly what I hate to say it, but that's what I would do. That's 100%. I know in my heart of heart that's what, isn't it? It's
just out of spite.
It's not evil. It's just proving a point.
And call it spite farms. Hog farms.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I would do. I hate to say it, but you don't want me to have a freaking solar farm and make butterflies and sheep. Okay, fine. Hog farm, and it's going to smell every day. I mean, that's
as long as there are, it's off the street, there's the trees, and then there's a fence. I think you're good, man. And as long as they don't fall into disrepair and there's like insurance in place, I think I don't see anything wrong with that. Especially if it's his property and nobody can tell him what to do.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
It's so I understand the neighbors. I get the neighbors. I would be pissed too. But anybody else commenting in Green Township that doesn't live like within a half a mile of that place, you have no say in it. Would be my call. It doesn't affect you. Right. It doesn't hurt you. Why are you bitching? Because you don't know about it, or because you don't want to drive by it once a week? Like, give me a break.
I mean, I'll drive by it every day.
But who cares? Go look at the beautiful solar panel. Who cares? It doesn't affect you.
Right. Well, I don't even think you'd see it, because it's flat out that way. I feel
drives me crazy, man. Crazy.
Right. Yeah. But all right, everybody, have a good night. We'll talk soon. See you around, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Play music.